job, I don't feel it. I need race car, top down to match my ceiling. I don't have none.
What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Good morning. And guys, today I'm going to Dubai Mall to buy something that I've never buy in my life. It's my first time to buy it. So before I start this video, give this video a huge thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, click the notification bell. Click the notification bell. I'm not posting video, you guys can see it. So catch you guys there. Peace. Color. Okay guys, I have back home right now, so I bought this pop, the game that I actually have. So I bought this pop, and there's a lot of them at the back. If you guys know them, like there's V male, V female, the actor of the game that I play, and this is the one pop, but they call Funko something, I don't know, Funko Pump. So I'm going to make a collection of this on my desk that I'm sitting right now. Maybe I'll buy something big, like something big, like as you can see behind me right there, there's something big like that. Maybe I will go buy something like that to collect it like this way, because guys, I'm going to start twitching soon, so I'm getting ready. So I want to get something like this, and my table is here, and as you can see, I put this sofa here because every time I bring it forward. So let's go and open it, guys. But a lot of people put it in the box. I don't like it that way. I'm going to make it only out of the box. So just remove this, and here's it. Is this one? If you guys know him, he's an actor of a movie. His name is, I think it's written here, right? This Johnny something. So if you guys know him, comment down below what is his name, because I want to know what is his name, actual name, because in the game it's different. So it's just a stand like this, and only head move. Some of them have bouncing head like this, but this one no, only this. So I'm going to make a collection of it. Until now, I'll put it right here with me. Come on, buddy. His head is bigger than his body. Come on, buddy, sit here. So I hope you guys liked today's video, and as always, Kiamo is out. Bye.
It's black and white.